Yo, 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 what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hungry People Podcast, home of the hungry people. It is your boy, Michael Patrick Buckley. Remember that co-host AJ, the killer, the stunning, Mr. Worker, car salesman, Daika, baby. We're back with another episode. We have an awesome special guest with you guys here today. It's Nucci, Reyo, one of the up-and-coming plant-based rappers, we'll say. It's so cool to be able to have you on our show today. And I think what's great about this podcasting platform is that we can bring on so many people from a variety of backgrounds that offer so much. And it's really awesome to have you on because we haven't had guests like this on. It's going to be so awesome to talk with you. So, yo, what's going on, everybody? AJ?
Hey. Yeah, MP, great intro. And it's just, Nucci, I wanted to say, did I say that right? Nucci?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I wanted to say, I'm really excited because I don't know that much about you. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how you got to where you are now and what inspired you and kind of how the challenges that you've had. So welcome to Hungry People Podcast. We're so happy to have you. And I'm looking forward to this episode.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, anyways, just to get started here, you're over in New Jersey, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Rahway, born and raised in Rahway.
Nice. AJ, that's up your way, sort of, kind of.
He's kind of like hours away, but it's cool. Jersey is Jersey. We all represent.
Totally.
100%.
I feel like I have such a different vibe because have you been to Pittsburgh at all, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I love Pittsburgh.
Okay.
One of my good is from Pittsburgh. So I went out there on a teen challenge tour one time, and we visited different places. I loved it. I love Pittsburgh. It's
nice,
like
man.
City of rivers and stuff.
Right. It's unfortunate. We've had actually two rappers pass for the past couple of years. I know Mac Miller and then Jimmy Wapo. Are you familiar with Jimmy Wapo at all?
Yeah, and I didn't know Mac was from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But I'm familiar with both of those tragedies. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Sucks. Right. But hey, at least we got Wiz. I mean, I know there's other rappers too in Pittsburgh, but Wiz Khalifa, honestly, old Wiz Khalifa is like one of my favorite rappers of all time.
He's dope. He has a lot of dopes.
For sure, man. For sure. Cool. But So matter of fact, I wanted to ask you what got you into doing what you do now? And if you could just even tell everybody kind of what you do, it'd be awesome.
So pretty much, I've been an artist from day one, rapping out in Jersey and kind of just doing major things from the beginning. I was signed to MCA Records, which is Dom Pooh signed me over there. Dom Pooh is the same guy who, at the time, my label mates were Mary J. Blige, Shaggy, The Roots, Common, individuals like that. And then Geffen bought MCA out. So I left and went independent and was able to do such major things. I've been in Double XL magazine, Source magazine, Writer of the Year because I started ghostwriting. I ghost wrote some stuff for Diddy, a host of other people. And, just kept it going. And then actually, made a lot of waves in the secular industry. And then what happened is, life-changing, moments and revelation. I started just keeping my hip hop more like inspirational, even, being accepted kind of into the Christian rap crowd as well. Mm-hmm. Where I'm infusing that in my message, my faith and my belief system. But, to me, hip hop is hip hop, right? Whatever's in your heart, whatever your message is, that's one thing. But mm-hmm. the foundation is hip hop music, it's rap music. And so that's pretty much the message in my music. And I've been able to make a lot of waves, do a lot of shows, and, kind of just keep it going. I dropped a lot of projects. And everything just gets streamed a lot, downloaded a lot. And I'm just happy that, people have been rocking with me for so long.
That's awesome, man.
Got you. So as opposed to before you started to make that shift and change, what was the focus of your art then? The type of lyrics that you used to have?
That's a good question. And when I look back on it and I listen, man, it was just really, it was just whatever I was surrounded by in the street, right? I always been the music guy surrounded by a bunch of street guys. So it was whatever I was seeing and experiencing, and whatever they were going through was kind of the stuff that I mentioned, right? But a lot of times from maybe like a blind or ignorant angle or even a negative angle. Whereas once I, just my heart was changed now, I'm talking about the same things, but from a different viewpoint, right? From a different point of view, from a different angle altogether, but, still the same types of things and just seeing them a different way. So yeah, that's how it switched up.
Gotcha. And was there something that triggered that, or you just were seeing that you weren't going in the direction that you ultimately wanted to go in?
Well, that's a good question. So my mother was a playwright, she still is, right? And so she had me, she was a playwright, and she was head of a ministry, a theater ministry at her church, right? So they're doing a play, and she has me play an individual who, the play is called Judgment Day, right? And it's episodic. Everybody in the play dies and either goes to heaven or hell. And they had me play a music executive who was dying and going to hell. And so I do the whole process. It's cool. I'm being part of this play. I'm doing some music for it, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't until I watched it back that I was like, whoa, like, this is some, like, I'm listening. As I'm like rehearsing and going through the whole process of being in this play, I wasn't grasping any of it. And then once I watched the tape back and saw every episode together and saw the full embodiment of what this message was, I said, whoa, it's like, if this is true, right? If this message is real, it's like everything has to change. You know what I mean? And it just really, just that gospel message just really penetrated my heart. And it just, shined the light, and I got the revelation, like, this is real. You know what I mean? So it was hard walking away, let's call it, from the secular music industry, right? Because I knew that this was a leap I had to take, but this would mean big changes financially. I knew friendships would shift. I knew certain opportunities would no longer be on the table. But hey, can you turn that light on? I'm sorry, turn this light on. But I had to do it, right? And so I did. And I took that leap. And a lot of people respected it. They still respect it to this day. But that was pretty much what the trigger was. Watching that playback, it was like a life-changing moment for me.
And was it like a big change all at once, or was it incremental changes that you just kind of picked up as you went?
That's a good question. It was just all at once, like cold turkey, whole new lifestyle. It was just everything must go. It's like having a yard sale. And you just everything and putting it on the lawn. So it was all at once.
That takes a certain kind of person to be able to realize that you have all these opportunities and relationships, and you've almost built up this, I don't know if you'd call it a persona, but just these, being around this certain crowd, and then all of a sudden making that shift and realizing it could hurt you. But it sounds like ultimately it really did serve you in the way that you would need it to. Yeah.
It definitely, it had what I wouldn't call like pros and cons. It had some rough sides to it, right? Some uphill climb sides to it, swimming upstream, if you will. But it was worth it. It wasn't promised that it would be easy, but just that it would be worth it, and it was. But yeah, you're right. You build up a character and an image and a whole thing of that nature, and that you got to shift that whole thing. So, it takes a lot of courage that, in my opinion, could only come from God, because it's a boldness that, just as human beings, a lot of time we just don't have in ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Has to come from, just a different source. And so, yeah, it wasn't easy, but, it was definitely worth it.
Right. So I'm not sure if you said this or not, but what age or like time period of your life was that?
So that was about 10 years ago.
Okay. Okay. And then when did you first start getting, or when did you first start rapping? Because I know you mentioned that like you were doing it from the get-go, but like when, like what exactly time period was that?
10 years before that. I
Okay.
got my record deal at 19, my second record deal at 21. The people that brought me into the MCA situation was a label called the Union label that I was signed with originally. I was in a group called the Union. That was 1999. Then I signed my deal with MCA in like between 2000 and 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So I was 21 years old when I signed with MCA.
Okay.
And then 30 years old, you know, when I first, you know, had a complete shift.
Right. So it seems like basically you're 20 years into this, about halfway through, you had this complete shift, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's that's actually really cool. Now, was there like some sort of defining moments over the past? It's funny because I kind of want to look at it from like two time periods. You know, you have the year before and you have your after.
Yeah.
But was there like any defining moments that really, I guess like telling you who you are as a person? You know, like maybe it was a show you did, or like the impact you had on just someone reaching out to you, know. But that'd be awesome if you could share something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Because, and you know, that's interesting that you bring that up, because when I was doing secular music, you know, for sake of conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I toured with Nas. I opened up for him on a Stillmatic tour. I opened up for Busta Rhymes. It was a college tour, early 2000s. I opened up the first Carter tour for Lil Wayne.
Wow.
And these large crowds, I had some pretty popular mixtapes out at the time. People are rocking with it. It's doing good selling wise. I'm on the radio on Hot 97 and, you know, different stations around the country. And I'm doing all the remixes, R&B remixes and stuff. And none of it was as fulfilling. I'm glad you brought up Pittsburgh. And there is an organization called Teen Challenge, right? Which is, if you're not familiar with it, they help. It's basically a rehab, a Christian rehab center.
Mm-hmm.
And they have 200 locations in the country. They do just great things, right? And so I ministered at one of those places. I connected with some guys from there. One of my guys is from Pittsburgh. We came out to do a show in Pittsburgh. He wanted me to come perform at his church in Pittsburgh, big old church, right? And when I came out there was like a super tough guy who was basically, it seems like he was known for like plaguing the neighborhood. This is McKeesport, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Definitely a rough area.
Yeah, for sure.
And the church was the only thing on the block left not abandoned. Right. The rest of the block was abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to, I had a song out that I called the rap version of Amazing Grace. I'll send you guys the link when we're done. And it touched, the third verse of that song touched this guy's heart so much. He's like standing up and everybody's looking at him and looking around and looking like, what is he about to do? What's going on here? And I believe it was like he surrendered to God in that moment, right after hearing my story and my testimony. And that moment, this might be, I don't know, 200-300 people in there, was more fulfilling than 50,000 people on stage on tour with my idol, Nas, at the time, right? Grew up listening to him, wanting to rhyme like him, you know, that kind of stuff. This is a dream moment for me. I'm on tour. I'm opening for Nas. There's no other openers. This is a dream. This is
right. That's nuts.
Right? Like sound check, I'm like pinching myself, right? That moment was not as fulfilling as this moment was to touch a heart in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So moments like that, you say defining moments where you realize who you are. Moments like that let me realize who I am, what I'm here to do, why I have this talent, this skill, this influence, this ability to, you know, network and transcend and get into different crowds and etc. You know, and I had quite a few moments like that after that change, and it was just it's powerful. I hardly can explain. I think I did a decent job just now, just even trying to articulate it.
Yeah, it's impressive.
You can hardly put it into words. You know what I mean?
Well,
but go ahead.
I just want to say, you know why I love that? Because not only do I have friends who say the following, but even big people like Rich Roll's podcast, you know, all these people who do have influence, they'll get so much positive feedback, right? And then they'll get a few negative comments, and it really brings them down, and it probably sways them away from living their dream. And I love what you said, because I'm sure that you have had your fair share of hate or bad comments, but at the same time, this one person who showed that appreciation like stuck with you. And it's the reverse of that. It's like one person fueling you, and then it just casting a huge shadow on all the negativity.
Yeah, and it's like that. You know, you perform, you open up for Nas, you open for Busta Rhymes and Lil Wayne and different people, and a bunch of different people in between and around those things. You know, doing the Summer Jam Festival stage. You know, just certain things you grew up wanting to do, being on Hot 97. Right, you're a kid at first. Like, how do you ever end up there? And then you make it happen, and it's just okay, cool. On to the next thing, right? Which is why so many superstars are so depressed, because what happens is all the things we think will fulfill us, and we think it'll do much more than it will do for our soul and our mind. It doesn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but seeing that life change. And now that neighborhood changes, and knowing how many lives will be connected to that life, right, that will change and be affected is much more powerful and fulfilling. And 50,000 people yelling, don't even know why they're yelling. Right. You know what I mean? Their life that day. But you know, to see this guy, tough guy, in tears because of the message, you know, just, you know, it's different.
Yeah, so you said something so profound there, where you said like now you're here up top here, but it's like not even as fulfilling as it was before now. Logic, he's one of my favorite rappers, and he has a song called Dark Place, and it's one of my favorite songs by him. In the song, he talks about how like his favorite times were when he was like just in his basement, like writing rhymes and rapping those rhymes. And then it's like now all of a sudden he has like all of his fame, and he even says that like the success and fame doesn't make you happy. And it's like not even just in the music industry, but every community in general. Like, how do we bridge that gap to where it's like, you just got to find happiness. Like, you don't have to be like this top dog superstar, because even those people, like, they're still depressed. They're still sad. Like, they still have personal issues. You know, just because you have the most fame in the world doesn't mean that you're not going to have any issues and have perfect health, you know? So, yeah, do you have any thoughts on that? On just like bridging that gap to where it's just like, enjoy the moment, maybe, instead of, like thinking that you have to be bigger than you are, you know?
Yeah. Well, you got to think about it, right? It starts with science, you know. We're a spirit. We live inside of a body, right? What fulfills that spirit? A relationship with who created that spirit. You know what I mean? And so for me, you can have everything. I had it. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be in a mansion with a car full of driveway full of cars, and you still not happy.
Right.
You know, women swimming in the pool, money in your pocket, you know, Cristal in the refrigerator, and you're not happy, because without a proper relationship with God, happiness is going to be fleeting. And so we're going to find it through fleeting pleasures. And as each pleasure fleets, we reach for the next one, and we'll keep doing that. And this is a story that unfolds in front of us for every pop artist. And yet we deny it. We feel different ways. We have different beliefs, etc. Fine. But what is playing out in front of your face, right? They can't find it anywhere else. You know what I mean? So it's almost like we have a God-sized hole in our heart. Only he could fill it. You know what I mean? And so it's either believe now or believe later, but this is the truth. And so as we seek other things, the jewelry, the cars, the women, the money, the accolades, none of it works because it's not designed to work, because we are not designed to be fulfilled by those things. That's just bottom line, you know, no matter how it just it doesn't work for nobody.
Right.
You know, my story, I would love to feel like my story is so unique. It's really not. You know, we've seen it from pop stars, not just rappers, everybody, you know, actors, everybody who gets everything that everybody else is wanting, right?
Exactly.
This ain't even it. Don't chase this.
Right.
You know, there's nobody, you know, I spoke to a guy one time, and we're going to get into the whole plant-based thing. I was in the hospital, and the guy was like, listen, there's nobody on their deathbed who wishes they made more money. Oh, I wish I would have made more money. I wish I would have had more women. I wish I would have had more jewelry. I wish I would have drove that car. Those are just not thoughts on your deathbed, right? So it's like, when you look at it like that, that's why I wrote the book, Health is Wealth, because what is it really worth? When you're laying on that hospital bed and your health is in jeopardy, you would trade every bit of wealth for 10 more minutes of health. So what is the wealth really worth then? Which one is worth more? You know what I mean? You wouldn't trade the wealth for your health, but you trade, you know what I mean? So
yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, that's where the whole inspiration for the book came from. And just, you know, just in a whole, this is what I want people to realize, you know, and you could say it or you could live it and let people watch it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
So
realize the truth.
So when you were coming up, I'm not sure, did you come from a family of money and wealth, or is that something that you came into as your career started to take off?
No, I didn't come from that at all. I'm from Rahway, so, you know, born and raised. It's not the poorest city in New Jersey, not the richest. Definitely not from, you know, a household that had a whole bunch of money, or a neighborhood with a whole bunch of money, or none of that. You know, the money came from the music business.
Was that like a shock to your system, or was it like you adapted to it very easily? Because I know a lot of people, like, all of a sudden they're just getting so much fame, so much wealth, so much attention, and a lot of people burn out. But it seems as though you really have a good relationship, and maybe that's just because I'm seeing you now and I don't know your past.
Yeah, it's definitely a now thing, because yes, it was a shock, and, you know, it almost destroyed me. I mean, you got to think, for me, literally, you know, one day I'm like hanging with the guys on the corner, and like 2 days later, I'm like signing my first record deal, and they're writing me a check. And then, you know, matter of months later, I'm on BET Rap City. We went #1 on Rap City.
Wow.
Yeah. Then right after that, I signed an MCA deal, a whole bunch of money. And, you know, yeah, it was all a shock. And, you know, it was a self-destructive path. I was never into hard drugs, and I think that helped a lot.
Yeah.
I definitely drank a lot, smoked a lot of weed, but, you know, it's a destructive path.
Right. Are you familiar with Paul Wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I listen to a lot of Paul, and I feel as though he's made it to where his career evolves, but it's almost like it isn't this crash and burn. Whereas you will see with athletes and rappers and different people of influence, it's like all of a sudden they get brought up and then they crash just as hard down. And
Yeah.
One of the things I like about Paul is, like, he's very consistent. Even though he's saying the same things over and over, he finds a different way to say it. And I get a similar vibe from you, where it's almost like a lifestyle versus like this high moment.
Exactly. It's a culture. You know what I mean? Everything is about culture and lifestyle. You know, nothing is about what people kind of have taken it to be. Everything is, you know, it's about lifestyle choices. You know what I'm saying? And just certain choices come along with this business, and you gotta carve your own individual path instead of just falling into it, because, you know, it'll eat you alive. It's like anything else. You know how you have people live in a bad neighborhood and they're not a bad person. You know what I mean? You have two kids in the same ghetto household, and one of them's like a criminal and the other one is like headed to college. You know, it's all about, you know, it's personal choice. It's personal choice at the end of the day.
Right.
Well, Well, I would love to get into, so you recorded this music or play, or how was it with your mother's at the church? That was like a really epiphany moment for you, seeing that on the playback. When does the health start to come in? How does that start to unfold where you start to take that more seriously?
Yeah, so I started to gain weight, and I woke up one day, and my vision had decreased. It's back beautiful now, but my vision had decreased by, I want to say, like 70-80%. And I'm like, what's wrong with my eyes? Yeah. Right? I got misdiagnosed with a vitamin B deficiency, right? It wasn't that. And then years later, I'm properly got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Mm-hmm. One of my pastor friends calls me and says, hey, listen, have you ever heard of a plant-based diet? I said, no, I haven't. Like, what's that about? He said, listen, you can reverse that diagnosis if you go plant-based, because it's going to take the fat from around your pancreas. It's going to take the fat out of your blood. It's going to do all this wonderful stuff. When you're desperate and nothing, you might as well try it, right? You got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'll try it. I tried it and it worked. Within 10 days, I felt like a different person. The weight just started melting off, and decided that I need to share this information. So I started going live on Facebook and letting people choose beats for me to freestyle to for a mixtape. And it was to be a workout mixtape. Like, we all need to work out more and stay active. So the mixtape came first, Health is Wealth, the mixtape. Then we did it again. It was, people like the interactive process of being able, hey, I think you'll sound dope to this beat, that beat, this old beat, that old beat. And we put the mixtapes together, and then I wrote the book from there, because I'm like, if one person could be inspired, I'm happy about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Testimonies from the book are constant. People are constantly inspired by it. So it's a beautiful thing.
Awesome. Now, when did that book come out?
2018.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. And it's been doing good ever since. And so, almost daily somebody hits me up about it, so I just want to keep spreading the news, man, that it's not a chronic illness. It's a dietary disease, and it could be reversed.
Totally. Now, when you first made that switch to a plant-based diet, what exactly were you eating? If you remember, I know that you said 2018. So
a lot of kale, hummus, and different things like what was it? My falafel, and cut out the dairy completely. So like, coconut milk, almond milk, things of that, oatmeal for breakfast instead of like, pancakes, bacon, and eggs. Getting rid of the steak was hard. Getting rid of the fried chicken was hard. But, those different vegan alternatives to that kind of stuff. And it was just great, man. It was spinach a lot. It was a lot of salads at first, because I'm kind of like trying to weave my way through it and find out, what I can't eat. But, that wasn't a bad thing. And I'm not a super foodie, right? So I don't need a bunch of options, so that to me, I think a lot of people are such foodies that it's like, how am I going to replace this, that, the third? I'm not like that. So it was kind of easy for me, what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, you'll have people who have like crazy amounts of edema or heart disease or all these issues, and they're like, I'll never give up, my steak, my eggs, my bacon. And that's the thing, that it's like you have two types of people who are willing to do anything just to feel better, and people who just accept it. And I think that the people who are accepting it and not willing to change is much higher than the people who are like, please just tell me what to do. I want to get better. So it's really cool to hear that you would embrace that. And I feel as though at this moment in time, like more and more people are opening up to the messages like you're sharing, and it's perfect timing.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I realized as I went in for like originally like to take the insulin and to do different things, talk to the doctors, the nutritionists. And I realized that all their plans are for people who don't plan to eat differently, right? Yeah. That's who they're used to seeing, is they're telling you, all right, this is how much this you have to be on because we know you want your cake. We know you want to eat your chicken, you're this, that, the third. And so this is what you got to take. And I'm like, well, what if I'm willing to switch my diet completely? And they're like shocked, like, wait a minute. But I would call myself a disciplined person. So when I set my mind to something, I can do it. You know what I mean? And so it was a shocker to a lot of people, but I made that change cold turkey as well.
Nice. That's sweet.
Once you told me, I started researching it and I said, I'm doing it. I never went back.
Right. So now with that change in your diet, what else changed in your life? Like, did you maybe start exercising more? Did you start walking more? Did you maybe give up alcohol? Like, what else changed?
Yeah. I stopped drinking, stopped smoking, then, had cigar every now and then, but now I don't smoke cigars at all. But when you eat correctly, right, there is a clarity of mind, right, because of the nutrients in the blood. That was just really a great thing. So, it was just always something else that I was, I'm just a more focused person, overall because of that. I feel like a lot of the negative food, we don't have to get into turn this into a Joe Rogan type podcast, but a lot of the food is like biological warfare.
Oh yeah.
It slows down your whole system, including your brain. And so I'm just almost like just getting reacclimated to just being able to think clear and just, be a totally transformed individual. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Do you feel as regaining your health, you can be more in tune with who you actually are and what you actually want in life? Because a lot of times it can cloud our judgments and we might not even be angry, but we feel angry because we don't feel well. So are you coming more and more into yourself as a person as you continue to go down this path?
100%. That was very well said. And that was something I had to come to grips with and realize, I was so angry and grumpy and just snappy. And it was because I didn't feel well and I didn't know how to articulate that to the people around me. And it makes you more cheerful, more joyful, a different kind of energy. It's wonderful.
Right.
That's what I tell people, right? I'm like, just try it. The way you feel, you'll never turn back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
totally.
It's like taste and see,
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so you mentioned that you don't drink alcohol anymore. I think that's awesome. Definitely an inspiration. Like for me, myself, I rarely drink. I mean, even this year I might have had, I don't know, like one or two beers, maybe three. Can't remember. But now I
Sure it was only one or two.
Yeah, right. It's funny. I said that. I was like, I should have said that. No, I swear. It was like a drink or two. I don't know, whatever. But like, I really personally, I don't like drinking. I don't want to drink. Sometimes, you have friends who, pull you into certain situations. They're like, here, drink this beer. Like, come on, just have a beer, man. It's just one beer, And I'm just like, dude, like, I don't really want it. Like, what's one beer going to do? Like, I don't want that, So now my question to you is like being, in the space that you're in and the industry that you're in, how do you influence others, by not drinking alcohol? Like, is there, like, do people come to you and talk to you and ask you like, hey, like, how can I get past this? How can I get through this? Thoughts?
I let my light shine and I present a different atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm in the studio, there's not going to be alcohol. There's not going to be the weed, going. And so people, sometimes it's their first time being in a recording session where nobody's getting drunk and getting high. And they realize, they realize you can actually perform without those substances. It causes you to loosen up and be yourself and be organic.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, sometimes that's a realization moment for them. And they'll hit me up like, I don't smoke in my sessions no more as far as weed is concerned. Or
that's awesome.
I don't, need alcohol anymore. Or, sometimes it's much stronger stuff. And so a lot of times it's about letting your light shine, just being an example, showing proof. I think that's the best method sometimes.
Yeah, totally. So now, okay. So now, staying on this message of like drugs and alcohol, and you don't have to name any names here or call anyone out, but with your experience and when being on tour, have you seen people that you've done shows with? Have you seen them like, take some shots before and kind of like to help loosen up, or like have to like smoke a joint beforehand because they're super stressed or they're worried, or do you see more that people are their natural organic selves where they're just out there just doing their thing?
Well, this industry is all about substances, right? So, I've seen people doing just about everything, and about 98% of the people, that is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Get drunk and get high, and that's how they perform. That's how they become this character that they're being, and it's just prevalent in this game. So a lot of times when you're not on it like that, it's just a shock to people.
Right.
Yeah. Do you feel as though if you pulled away maybe the drugs or the intensity of it all, a lot of people wouldn't even be drawn to it or to stay in it? Like if people all of a sudden are like, they're eating healthy and they're going to bed early, do you think that they would naturally pull away, or do you think that that would feed their creativity and their performances?
I think, yeah, they would just pull from a different place, right? They're pulling from a place that, some people have been doing it for so long, they think that's all there is. And I was one of them, It was a time where I was drunk for every day, 10 years straight.
Wow.
I was alcoholic because I wasn't drinking, cheap beer and wine and laying on the bench in front of the liquor store, but drinking Cristal and Moet, Hennessy, Remy every day. You're alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I understand that. That's who, we can't see life without it. Until we see life without it, then we're like, wow, I don't need this.
Right.
A lot of people go to jail for that. Praise God, I didn't have that kind of experience. But once they sober up in jail, they realize you could live without it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, AJ, I think that was a great question, because I do believe that people that use like the concert or whatever to give them a reason to party and do substances that probably shouldn't be in our body at all. Even this past weekend or 2 weekends ago, Mike Stud came to Pittsburgh, and I didn't get the concert, but I see videos of him, and he's like pouring beer down, not like down people's throats, but he's like just like, like just pouring it, and people are like, like drinking the beer. And it's just like, is that really the message that should be promoted in this type of industry? But that's what we see. We see like, oh, like stay up late, drink, party, do drugs. And it's like, I don't want to live that way. I don't even know how people do that.
Well,
it's
that's
really sad.
A lot of people stop doing it and continue to promote it. And I think that, when you run into the guy with the drug influenced, drug charged song out, or the alcohol song out, and you run into them and they're like, nah, I don't drink. And you're like, huh? But your new song is, get drunk every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, that's because the people like it.
Right.
That's shocking. So, a lot of it is it's just strange. It's a strange world, you know what I mean? But there's freedom like just being real with your music and your image.
Totally. Well, you'll see that in our realm, the raw vegan world, where a lot of people change up what they eat, but they have a following, right? So they don't want to change what they promote because they're going to lose their fan base. They're going to get a lot of hate. And it takes a lot of courage to actually be as authentic as you can with your changes, because it's the easiest thing to do is to just say you're still doing it, right?
Wow. Didn't think about that. That's crazy. It's not a shocker though. It doesn't stop me, but yeah, that's bugged out, especially when you want to keep that following.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
The internet age, so phone cameras are everywhere, so they better watch out.
Well, that's the thing. There's these channels on YouTube and podcasts that are all about hating on vegans or plant-based people, vegetarians, and they literally just attack and get their following to attack them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really strange because there's a lot of narcissism going on, a lot of lies. And the thing is, if you wanted to point out issues with the plant-based diet, like I'm all for it. I think there is issues, but at the same time, that isn't discussion. That's just hate. That's attack. That's them getting a bunch of views because of their drama. And it's unfortunate. I think people aren't being served in the way that they need to be.
Yeah, that's whack. It's like
It
a
is.
whole world.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I guess any way for people to get on top and to get clout, it's sometimes it takes bullying and putting other people down, which is just like, it's really sad. It's definitely messed up.
Yeah, it's
But
corny.
I wanted to ask you, what's like, so like you said that you like to eat simple. What's your like go-to meal nowadays?
Well, I mean, I do like I just did like some sweet potato fries and a black bean burger, stuff like that. I love avocado. Obviously that one. A lot of times for I mean, I can eat just pineapple for breakfast. I mean, I
so
like
good.
Right, banana, grapefruit, stuff like that. So I'm back even more strict where I'm not even into like the processed vegan stuff right now.
Nice.
Trying to drop like another 50 pounds. So I mean, I was real big. Originally, I dropped like 150 pounds.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm trying to lose like another 50 pounds and just come on down, man. Just slim down my high school weight.
Yeah, right.
Have you noticed since cutting out the processed vegan foods, are you like thinking clear? Are you sleeping better? Or is it about the same?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's even better without that. I didn't know that even that. I mean, that processed food got to still be better than, regular like processed beef or something. But I want to do like, I'm even doing like raw for the weekends and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
it's
awesome.
good. I'm like,
how does it feel on the weekends when you do that?
Oh, man. First of all, I don't want to get graphic. Cleans you out. It's like a freaking, like, listen, guys, like taking something to cleanse. It's like a cleanser, right?
Yeah.
That stuff's no joke, but it's good. It's good, man. And you can eat a dump truck of it, right? So you could just all day, you just could snack on the raw stuff. It is what it is. It's nutrient.
How did you come across like more raw stuff to experiment with? Was that on YouTube or you read it or you just tried it yourself?
No, I just started myself. I was like, well, let's try some raw stuff, and I might have came across something that said like raw vegan or something. And I'm like, well, what's that? And then I kind of got it. Okay. And it's cool. I like it, man. Met a lot of good people that are like plant-based and, which didn't shock me because people are in better health, right? Or have conquered and got their health back and they have a better frame of mind. So I've met people where I'm like, man, I wish I had these friends for years. Like these are great. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like I said, I like it, man. It's like a community. You know what I mean? Everybody's really joyful and welcoming. So it's pretty cool. Because at first I didn't really connect with it as a community, right? I just did it and wanted to get the message out. And as people reached out to me, I said, oh, wow. Because, the sad thing about it is before that pastor that brought that to me, I hadn't even heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of communities we're from when nobody talks about eating this healthy. So I definitely, I've gone into the schools and stuff, and I want to bring it back to those communities too, where like we live off honey buns and, Little Debbie's, and you might as well eat the wrapper.
Right.
Right.
Terrible. So, I want to get it to the communities. You'd be surprised, man, what people I've never heard of. You think something's so popular, but in certain hoods, they just never heard of it.
Right.
Yeah. It's actually really refreshing for me to hear from you that you've met a lot of amazing people, because of course MP and I have as well, but because of all the drama that surrounds certain types of community, and since they have such a loud voice, I think everyone gets grouped in when really there's tons of people who are athletes, business people who are just performing better than ever. And there's this notion that if you eat plants, you're not going to have a sex drive, you're not going to be strong anymore, masculine. I mean, would you disagree with that?
Completely. I mean, look at a bull, right? What do they eat? Look at a rhino. Ask me, where you gonna get the protein? Well, where do they get the protein? What I mean? The animal eats instead of eating the animal. And they're like, oh wow, never thought of it that way. Yeah, what do you think? Like these animals just grow protein in their blood? Like, you know what I mean? They eating protein. So doesn't. It improves everything actually because all the nutrients gets and working how it's supposed to work, right? So I disagree, but I know what you mean though, because it is a fight. Like people want to disprove everything, right? If it's not what you want to do, why can't you just do something different peacefully? People want to like wage war on you and disprove it. You know what I mean? Like it's like
the only way that their diet works is if yours doesn't.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's some like second grade stuff.
Really, really elementary. I've definitely seen the arguments, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to get involved in the argument because I know what I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you bring up the animals because people would claim that we're carnivores, but it's like if you put a human in a ring with the lion with nothing, with no gun or no bow and arrow, show me who's the carnivore is, like if we're carnivores, like we should have these massive sharp teeth and big claws, and we should be clawing our way through animals, but we don't do that. We have to shoot and kill them from miles away, or else it's scary being up close. So yeah, I just feel like the message is, it's just like a weird message that's out there around all this kind of food stuff. But I do find it interesting always going back to nature to answer some of the questions, so like put us in nature and we can't run after a leopard to go kill it, like
there you go. Like it's really a short, I tell people, you want to debate it, it's a short conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
Don't really have a leg to stand on. It's obvious, so many ways.
Totally.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm curious now that you have your purpose more in front of you and you feel well and you're continuing to get healthier. What's next? Like, what are you trying to accomplish?
That's a good question. Well, now, it worked for me. I want to actually build a theater church because that theater ministry was so life-changing for me. I feel like it could help change others. And so that's what I'm focused on. So I have a streaming service called Godify, which is actually the inspirational or Christian version of Spotify. It's called Godify. Wow. And so I'm just using that to kind of build up the wealth and just do a string of theater churches across the country, awesome. Along with music. Got some more music coming. I've been able to influence a lot of people in the music industry. I have a new song with Jim Jones coming out, where I was able to connect with him on the fact that, a lot of us, man, whatever hood we from, we were raised in stay over there. We were raised in the church.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we have that connectivity, and it's like, let's get back to our roots and let's talk about what that was like and how that affected us and made us who we are.
I love that too. I love that too, because it seems as though that all the people talk about religion nowadays, like it's almost only negative talk as well, when there's so many people in the world that are just so positively influenced by church, like yourself.
Yeah, you're right. And when it goes back to our other convo, like, why is everything always a debate? It has to be disproven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, if you can't sleep because of this ideology I've put out, then maybe you should look into it more, because why is it corrupting your spirit so much? You know what I mean? So,
and if we're all so unique, why can't we have these unique differences? Like, some people might feel better doing X and you feel better doing Y. Why isn't that encouraged instead of challenged? It's strange. It's such strange behavior.
Very strange. Everything doesn't have to be an argument. And I mean, it even says that, you have Paul in the Bible saying that, hey, look, one man eats this, another one eats that. Let him do what he's doing. He doesn't feel any kind of way about eating it. You don't feel a kind of way about not eating it. Go along in peace. You know what I mean? And that's just how it has to be, And so try not to be so combative, but still present truth in every way. I tell people all the time, when you look at people like the FBI, right? How do they train their agents to tell real money from fake money? They never let them see any fake money. They expose them to so much real money that when they see fake money, it stands out. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you feel like you got the truth or something beneficial, just give it exposure.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that people find a truth that finally resonates with them. And then, similar to how you said, these performers go into rehab and they realize they can live without it, or in prison, they can live without like the substance abuse and stuff. I think it's similar when you find something that really helped you in your life. Maybe you found a diet that really helped you, and then it starts to be not working out, but you hold on to it instead of listening to yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
that seems to happen so easily.
yeah. I think people just like being combative too. I think a lot of people miserable in any fight, they'll fight it, right? You got to pick a fight, pick a battle, man. It's like, anything they can oppose, they will, you
Right.
know. Sometimes I'll send a song out to certain people and say, that I just recorded. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? There's certain people who have to pull something negative. They have to criticize it. It doesn't mean that. Like, you could get that song and say, hey, this is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. But no, they gotta pick it apart. You know what I mean? And that's just how some people are. So it's an interesting world.
For sure.
But I don't know what time we're on, but my phone is like about to run out. I don't want it to cut off on you guys.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah, we could wrap up.
Yeah. Do you guys mind if I freestyle real quick? No, I'm just kidding. You don't want to hear me freestyle.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, but you got to do a Hungry People song. No, I'm just kidding.
Word.
That'd be funny. I
hit the intro. Okay, you need an intro.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that
No
would be
doubt.
awesome.
No doubt. That'd be sweet.
That would be awesome. Actually, one of the closing things I wanted to say is, actually, I just forgot. I had a thought. It'll come back to me in 1 second.
Yeah, here. I just want to say, man, dude, beautiful. Like, just so beautiful. The words, everything you said today, you brought so much to the table here, man. Such a powerful and visceral message. Like, really, it was awesome. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was definitely great chatting with you, man.
And I just wanted to say, you had every reason to continue to just focus on the things that everyone else in the world focuses on, which is, just the money, just the fame, just the partying and all that. And you still chose to break away and find your own inner self and your own inner peace. And that really takes a tremendous kind of person. And as you can see from the examples that you gave, it's only affecting people in a positive way instead of the other way around. I have a lot of respect for you, man, and I really appreciate what you're doing. I'm looking forward to driving around, listening to your music, and hopefully we get to have you back on in the future.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I'll send you guys some links, and I'm gonna work on that rap intro. Hold me to it.
Yeah, for sure. Would love that, man. Would love that.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Awesome. Hey, guys, check out his book, Health is Wealth. That was Nucci Reyo, rapper.
We'll have all the links down below as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Awesome stuff, guys. Awesome stuff. Cool. Well, hey, that was Hungry People. Hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Stay up. Be great. Always keep it 100, baby.
Don't starve, eat food, and stay hungry.
All right, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.